Relaxing music accompanies this introduction to the history of weapons inventions. 1. Stone weapons. The earliest weapons made during the Stone Age were tools crafted from stone. These pointed stones were used for hunting and combat. Stone weapons began to be used about 2.5 million years ago. 2. Wooden spears. Wooden spears, used for hunting, appeared in the later Stone Age. The tips were sharpened to pierce prey. These have been in use for about 500,000 years. 3. Bronze weapons. During the Bronze Age, weapons made of bronze appeared. Bronze swords and spears were stronger and more durable than stone tools. This period ranged from about 3000 BC to 1200 BC. 4. Iron weapons. In the Iron Age, weapons made of iron were introduced. Iron was stronger and more durable than bronze. This period began around 1200 BC and lasted until about 600 BC. 5. Bows and arrows. Bows and arrows have been used since around 10,000 BC. They were utilized in hunting and warfare, allowing for attacks from a distance. The invention of the bow and arrow significantly changed tactics. 6. Chariots. Chariots, used in ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, appeared around 2000 BC. These horse-drawn vehicles revolutionized warfare by significantly enhancing mobility on the battlefield. 7. Catapults. Used in ancient Greece and Rome, catapults could hurl large stones over great distances. They began to be used around 400 BC. 8. Crossbows. Invented around 400 BC in China, crossbows were more powerful and easier to use than bows and arrows. The advent of the crossbow further evolved combat methods. 9. Gunpowder. Gunpowder was invented in China around the 9th century. It was used to make explosives, fireworks, and later, firearms. The invention of gunpowder greatly altered the history of weaponry. 10. Cannons. First used in China in the 13th century, cannons were a type of firearm that used gunpowder to launch iron balls. Cannons spread to Europe and played a crucial role in warfare. 11. Muskets. Appearing in the 16th century, muskets were early firearms that used gunpowder to fire lead bullets. The introduction of muskets significantly changed the way soldiers fought. 12. Cavalry tactics. Cavalry tactics, involving mounted warriors, emerged around 500 BC. The speed and mobility of horses allowed for effective attacks against enemies. The introduction of cavalry drastically changed tactical approaches. 13. Rifles. Invented in the 18th century, rifles were capable of long-range shooting. The characteristic feature of a rifle is the spiral grooves inside the barrel, which stabilize the bullet's flight and improve accuracy. 14. Ships of the line. Appearing in the 17th century, ships of the line were large warships equipped with numerous cannons and acted as the backbone of naval warfare. The introduction of these ships significantly changed naval tactics. 15. Ironclad ships. Developed in the 19th century, ironclad ships were warships covered in iron, more durable and resistant to cannon fire than previous wooden ships. The advent of ironclad ships transformed naval battles. 16. Machine guns. Invented at the end of the 19th century, machine guns could fire multiple bullets rapidly, having a profound impact on the battlefield. This invention significantly altered combat forms. 17. Submarines. Becoming practical in the early 20th century, submarines could move underwater and attack unseen from below. Submarines played a key role as a weapon starting from World War I. 18. Tanks. First used during World War I, tanks are armored land vehicles that can move across various terrains equipped with heavy artillery. The introduction of tanks greatly changed land warfare tactics. 19. Bombers. Developed in the early 20th century, bombers are aircraft that can drop bombs from high altitudes, attacking a wide area of enemies. The introduction of bombers dramatically expanded the spatial reach of warfare. 20. Fighter aircraft. First used during World War I, fighter aircraft are high-speed planes used to attack enemy aircraft and secure air superiority. The introduction of fighters changed the nature of aerial combat. 21. Aircraft carriers. Aircraft carriers, which can carry and launch aircraft from the sea, appeared after World War I, significantly altering naval tactics. The introduction of aircraft carriers made aerial power a mainstay in naval warfare. 22. Radar. Developed during World War II, radar uses radio waves to detect enemy aircraft and ships from a distance. The introduction of radar changed defensive and offensive strategies. 23. Assault rifles. Developed in the mid-20th century, assault rifles are automatic rifles suited for close combat. The introduction of assault rifles enhanced the combat effectiveness of infantry. 24. Nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons, the most powerful bombs developed during World War II, were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, causing extensive damage. Subsequently, nuclear weapons spurred a global arms race. 25. Missiles. Developed in the mid-20th century, missiles are guided weapons that can precisely attack distant targets. The evolution of missiles further evolved warfare tactics. 26. Jet fighters. First used during World War II, jet fighters are high-speed aircraft significantly enhanced by jet engines. This invention completely transformed the nature of aerial combat. 27. Nuclear submarines. Developed in the latter half of the 20th century, nuclear submarines, powered by atomic energy, can remain submerged for extended periods, increasing their strategic value. The introduction of nuclear submarines changed naval warfare tactics. 28. Unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. Developed in the latter half of the 20th century, UAVs are remotely operated aircraft used for reconnaissance and surveillance, enhancing soldier safety. This technology has made information gathering more efficient. 29. Homing missiles. Developed in the latter half of the 20th century, homing missiles can track and hit moving targets, enhancing the offensive capability of warfare. 30. Precision-guided bombs. Developed in the latter half of the 20th century, precision-guided bombs can accurately target using lasers or GPS, reducing collateral damage to non-combatants. 31. Stealth aircraft. Developed at the end of the 20th century, stealth aircraft are difficult to detect by radar, enhancing the success rate of combat operations. 32. Chemical weapons. Used for the first time during World War I, chemical weapons, like poison gas, attack the enemy using toxic substances. The horror of chemical weapons led to strengthened international regulations. 33. Biological weapons. Biological weapons, using bacteria or viruses to attack enemies, have been researched since the early 20th century and have occasionally been used. The risk of spreading infectious diseases makes biological weapons particularly terrifying, leading to strict international regulations on their use. 34. Nuclear warhead missiles. Developed in the mid-20th century, these missiles can carry nuclear warheads and launch nuclear attacks from great distances, enhancing their deterrent effect. 35. Cluster bombs. Used in the latter half of the 20th century, cluster bombs disperse numerous small bombs at once, attacking a wide area. Subsequent impacts on non-combatants have led to strengthened international regulations. 36. Close-in weapon systems, CIWS. Developed in the latter half of the 20th century, CIWS are automated defense systems used to protect ships and bases from attacks by missiles and aircraft, enhancing defensive capabilities. 37. Tiltrotor aircraft. Developed in the latter half of the 20th century, tiltrotor aircraft can take off and land vertically like helicopters and move at high speeds like airplanes, significantly enhancing mobility. 38. GPS-guided missiles. Developed in the latter half of the 20th century, GPS-guided missiles use satellites to accurately target, significantly improving hit rates on the battlefield. 39. Drones. Emerging in the early 21st century, drones are unmanned aircraft operated remotely, used for reconnaissance and attack, presenting a new form of warfare. 40. Hypersonic missiles. Developed in the 21st century, hypersonic missiles travel at speeds more than 5 times the speed of sound, reaching the enemy very quickly and making interception difficult, thus enhancing offensive capabilities. This concludes the presentation on the history of weapons inventions. Let's meet again next time.